All right, today we got the Brexit vote, UK parliamentary vote on Brexit. This was a vote that was previously voted down. They're doing it again. Prime Minister of Britain, Theresa May, she worked out a new deal with the EU with the so-called backstop for Ireland. The whole thing's very complicated, folks. They're going to do the vote again. The vote is expected to be turned down once again. That still does not end the whole process. They're probably going to have another vote tomorrow, and then they could even have another vote. These votes will decide. If it's voted down today, the next vote will be to decide whether they pull out of the EU with no deal, I believe, and then they could have another vote to delay the pullout and try to work something out again. So it's just like, it's these endless votes. It almost seems like they're dragging this along to frustrate the electorate who voted originally in 2016 for Brexit, to try to frustrate them to say, you know what, the hell with it, let's just stay in. I don't know. The zombies will probably sell the British pound. Look, let's talk about this for a second. Prior to the EU, even prior to the formation of the European Union and the Euro, when all these countries had their separate currencies and they were trading together under WTO rules, World Trade Organization rules, the British pound was a lot higher than where it was. So it does not make any sense that the British pound would be even lower than where it is now if Britain would go back to an arrangement where they were trading with Europe under WTO rules, which had been the case for years and years and years prior to the creation of the European Union. But that is probably exactly what would happen, at least temporarily. You would see a reflex, emotional, knee-jerk reaction to sell the British pound. You know, and we've been seeing this now, this kind of reactions for a number of years. With the euro, we saw it with the dollar buying, and these are things ultimately that will fade away because there is no underlying fundamental reason for the pound to depreciate if there is an arrangement between the UK and Europe based on WTO trading rules. There's just not. All right? So I wanted to make that clear. Let me mention something about oil. You know, I've been bullish on oil. I said back in November, December, when OPEC agreed on a new round of cuts, that we would see oil prices rise. We saw it rise from what, $42, $43. It's up to 57 on WTI. It's up to what, about 67 on Brent. So prices are definitely coming back. We also have the situation now with the sanctions on Venezuela, which is severely limiting the availability of the so-called sour crude, which refineries need, because that's what they use to refine into product like distillate, diesel fuel, gasoline, etc. So that is a new dynamic, a new element that has entered into the picture, and it could lead to some critical shortages this summer with gasoline and with diesel fuel. So it's something to pay attention to, and it's something that I've been talking about in my report. Again, every week with the EIA report that comes out on Wednesday, I give a full breakdown of that report. A lot of people, you know, say this every week. They sit around, they wait for that one number, the crude oil inventories. They buy or they sell based off of that. Like last week, for example, they sold crude. And I even said, I sent out before that happened, I said they're going to see, if we see a build in inventories, they're going to sell crude and you want to buy that dip. And that's exactly what happened. They sold it down into the 54 handle on WTI. We're up over 57 today. So the cuts, Saudi Arabia's cuts, not just in output, but also in exports, way down, way down. And we're going to start to see a significant decline in U.S. crude inventories A lot of people think the inventory build was as a result of shale oil production, but it was not. It was the Saudis producing at over 10 million up to 11 million barrels a day. They're way below that now. So we're going to start to see those inventories come down, and we'll start to see product inventories, gasoline and distillate, come down as well. In fact, distillate has been coming down. Gasoline has been coming down too. So we have that. Finally, I want to mention one thing. Somebody asked me a question, which I think is a very good question. You know, a lot of people ask me questions, oh, what do you think about the market? What do you think about this stock? I think this was an even more important, the most important question, because it was a mental game question. A subscriber I have said to me, Mike, I get frustrated sometimes. How do you avoid frustration? That's a fantastic question. Because these are the things we really have to work on. It's not about the methodology, it's not about the approach, it's not about the so-called system. I say that all the time. People out there, everybody out there chasing the system fairy, thinking there's some magical system that's going to take them to where they want to go, and they never have to worry about their emotion or stress or anything else like that. This guy asked me a good question. He said, how do you deal with frustration? I get frustrated sometimes. You know, I have people who come to me and they sign up and they're all excited because, hey, it's MMT, and then what happens? It goes great, and then something doesn't go right away, and they quit thinking it's the system. They don't look internally and think it is about their behavior. But this guy asked me the question, how do you deal with frustration? That is an excellent question. And the answer is, it's very, very hard. I have never once said here, when it comes to the mental game aspect or the personal behavior, that, hey, it's easy. There's a couple of exercises and techniques that you do and you got it mastered. No, it's hard all the time. It's hard. I wake up every day at 4 a.m. I go to the gym or I run. I don't like waking up at 4 a.m. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. I hate it, but I do it every single day. You know why? Because it develops mental toughness. And that's what it's all about. How do you do it? You just got to tough it out. I'm sorry, there's no other way I can say it. And it's not easy, and it's never going to get easy. And as soon as you can put your mind around that's how it's going to be forever, then you're on the path to making it happen. But that was a great question. I just wanted to point that out. Bye-bye.